Well, the Packers did not, make sure it's on. The Packers did not achieve their goal of earning a slot in the Super Bowl. They will not be Super Bowl 51 champions. So were the Packers successful this season or not? The Motion Picture Academy released its nominations for the Oscars this week. Hundreds of movies were made and released this year, and the vast majority of those movies were not and will not be nominated for any awards. Were these movies, actors and directors, successful or not? High school basketball, wrestling, swimming, and gymnastic teams end their regular seasons soon in the month of February, and then they will compete for berths at the state-level competition. Most high school athletes will never ever compete at the state level. Are those athletes successful or not? One person out of 19 declared candidates won the presidency. Are the other 18 unsuccessful? And before you say anything, remember what Thumper said: if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Most of us have not kept our New Year's resolutions. The majority of us have problems in life. Quite a few of us worry about money while we're working, and even more worry about having enough money to live comfortably for the rest of our lives. Are we successful or not? What is success? Well, most of us respond by saying success is being happy or content. Strayer University in Minnesota did a survey in 2014, and it said a majority of people, well, not a great majority, about 60% of the people believed that success was found when we achieved our personal goals, had good relationships with family or friends, or loved what we did. Surveys given to the people we all think of, or most of us think of as successful, agree that that indeed is what success looks like. But what if we haven't achieved our personal goals? What if we didn't lose that weight, or get the promotion, or accomplish the other goals we set for ourselves? What if we've done the best that we could, and our children still don't want to talk or be around us? What if they grew up to be jerks? What if we really don't find that much meaning, or happiness, or purpose in our work? Are we then unsuccessful in life? What is success? Well, in Matthew's Gospel, Jesus begins by telling his disciples to follow them. Then he worked his way through Galilee, the region, building up a reputation as well as a crowd of people who wanted to hear more. Finally, in the 5th chapter, Jesus stopped on a hillside to deliver his inaugural address. In Matthew's Gospel, the Sermon on the Mount was Jesus' first major speech to the crowds. And in Matthew's Gospel, the Sermon on the Mount is where Jesus outlined his way of life, his expectations, and his definition of success. Now, Jesus was talking to a pretty unsuccessful group of people in the 1st century. He was talking to the peasant class. Now, the 1st century was a time of incredible prosperity, unless you were one of the peasants. Peasants were those who worked for the wealthy and the powerful. Peasants were the indentured servants, the slaves, and the working poor of Israel. The peasant class included anyone who did not own and make a living off of their own land. In today's terms, the peasant class was the 99%. And whether it's the 1st or the 21st century, peasants are not usually thought of as successful. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus talked about success. He didn't talk about achieving personal goals or making connections with people or even being content with what we do. Instead, Jesus said, our success is determined by our connection with God. Now, the word blessed in the Beatitudes is pretty open to translation, since there is absolutely no English word that is the equivalent of the Greek word used in Matthew's Gospel. And if we read a variety of translations, we'll find out that a number of words are used. Some translations, like the one we have this morning, uses the word blessed. Others use the term happy. Robert Schuller called the Beatitudes the be happy attitudes. Today I'm suggesting we use the word successful. Successful are those who? Well, the poor in spirit, those who mourn, and the non-violent meek. Boy, that was a Freudian slip. The non-violent meek are successful because they depend on God for inner strength. They depend on God for comfort. They depend on God for courage. Success for Jesus meant humility, not the kind of false modesty that often passes for humility, but the knowledge that our inner peace, our strength, and our purpose comes from something beyond our personal goals and accomplishments. Rather, success comes from knowing our worth is found in God. Success means knowing that we are so completely loved by God, we don't need anyone or anything else to give us worth. Excuse me. Excuse me. It's one of those times when we realize how many people look outside of themselves to determine their success. My mother was one of those people. She was only successful if the people around her told her she was successful. She never came to realize that success is found inside of ourselves, in our connection with God. That our worth is not determined by what people think of us, but our worth is determined by our connection to God that tells us we are loved unconditionally, that who we are is absolutely okay in the eyes of God, that who we are is who God created. And we don't have to worry about what people think beyond that. Success means knowing that we are completely loved by God, so that we don't need anyone or anything else to give us worth. Jesus said those who hunger and thirst for justice are successful. That means anyone who understands that no one is successful until everyone has enough. Until everyone has a fair and equal opportunity to develop and use the gifts God gave them. Successful people understand that we can't any one of us be successful until we're all given a fair opportunity to use the gifts God gave us. We're successful when we offer the kind of compassion and forgiveness to others that God gave to us. We're successful when we have as much devotion for God as we do for the other things we love in life. For instance, when I was working with Don Standard Jr., he told me about the day when he was growing up, when it was raining so hard out, he didn't want to walk the 3 blocks to church for youth group. His dad, Don Sr., looked at him and said, "Well, Don, would you go fishing in this kind of weather?" Now, John Jr. loved fishing more than life itself. And so he ended up going to youth group because it was pointed out to him in a very nice way that we need to show as much love for God and God's people as we do for those other things that we love in life. We're successful when we care for the welfare of all God's people and all God's creation. Think about the headlines. We are successful when we care for the welfare of all God's people and all of God's creation. We are successful when teasing, bullying, or insults do not change our commitment to God or to God's creation. I grew up with a guy named Scott Smiley. Scott was an awesome football player. He got a full ride scholarship to North Dakota. I mean, he was a great football player. And he was a very overt Christian. In spite of the fact that he was a popular kid, popular football player, came from a wealthy family, the rest of us just kind of looked at him askance. Because he was such an overt Christian. He didn't let that bother him. He made sure that all of his friends knew that God loved them and they had the possibility for salvation by being connected to God through Jesus, their Christ. He didn't let the bullying, the teasing, the distance dissuade him. We are successful when we don't let anything dissuade us from sharing our faith. We are successful when we are willing to be unpopular because of our connection to God. In other words, our success is not determined by accomplishments, by connections to other human beings, or even by being satisfied or happy with what we're doing in life. Our success is determined by our dependence upon and our reliance on and our commitment to God. When our connection to God is the core of our success, attaining personal goals makes us happy, but it doesn't determine our worth. When our connection to God is the core of who we are, our relationships with friends and family are strengthened by God. When our connection to God fills us with peace and courage and comfort and meaning, it changes our perspective on how we're using our time and our abilities. There is no job too small to be done when it's for God. In a world where success was determined by things way beyond their control, those listening to Jesus heard for the first time that the secret to success really was their connection to God. Well, friends, we live in a world and a time where success is often based upon things beyond our connection with God, our determination, our abilities, our goals that we meet, who loves us, and what we do that makes us happy. Jesus had different standards for success then and now. God offers us everything we need to be successful in life and successful as followers of Jesus our Christ. God freely gives us unconditional love, the possibility for growth, courage, strength, and comfort. God freely gives us the ability to care for others as much as God cares for us. And when we are closely connected to God, we have a love and a desire for justice that helps everyone grow closer to God. Now, I'm pretty sure the Packers wanted to go to the Super Bowl and win. I'm pretty sure that high school athletes would really love to go to state. I'm pretty sure all of the pictures that were made, all of the actors and actresses who appeared, wanted to get that Oscar in their hand. I'm more than positive a lot of people wanted to be president. And I suspect we all want to be successful in life as well, but Jesus tells us success begins with our connection to God. Relying on God for love, purpose, courage, strength, and comfort will lead us to success. Devotion to God and caring for God's people and caring for God's creation as much as God cares for us leads to success. We can have personal goals. We can want to be close to family and friends. We can even be happy with what we do every day, but real success in life is found in the first few verses of the 5th chapter of Matthew's Gospel. Living the Beatitudes, being close to God. That's the secret to success. Amen.
Amen.